Hi, I'm Paulette Morrissey from Tulip Square, and today I'm going to show you how to make another disappearing block. This is one of my absolute favorites. This starts out as 4 simple half square triangles, and then it is cut up and put back together, and you get this very elaborate looking square that looks really pretty as a quilt. It's pretty as a placemat if you put some borders on it. You make a nice runner, and this is just in 2 colors. You can also make it fancier in more than 2 colors, but I kind of like the 2-color one. You can find a free PDF in the description below that will show you the sizes that I used and the cutting and the number of pieces you need. And those PDFs are always free, so check it out in the description below. And let's head over to the sewing machine and make a very pretty disappearing block. Favorites. You're going to start by making half square triangles, 4 simple half square triangles, and all you need for each one of your blocks is 2 squares of a light color and 2 squares of a dark color, or 2 just very nicely contrasting colors. And you're going to pair them together. So what I'm going to do is take each of these pairs, and on the lighter side on the wrong side of the lighter half, I'm going to draw a line, a nice diagonal line, nice and clear like that. And I'm going to do that on each one of them. Now what you're going to do is you're going to sew 1/2 inch away from that line on each side. You're going to have 2 seams here, one on each side of each line. So I'm going to sew both of those, and then we'll proceed. Now I've got them sewn, 1 seam on each side of the line, and now I'm going to cut along that line I drew. And this will give you 2 identical half square triangles from each one of these pieces that you sewed. And you're going to need a total of 4 to make 1 block. You sew 2 of these sets together. And when you're sewing, make sure you keep your seam a nice accurate 1/4 inch seam so that all your pieces fit together nicely. And then I'm going to go press them towards the darker color. Now when you're pressing these pieces, make sure that you don't pull them when you're pressing them, because you are pressing on the diagonal, and you don't want to distort. You want a nice straight line across there. Now what you're going to do is you're going to put them like this. In itself is a kind of a cute block, a simple block. So I'm going to sew these together in pairs. I'm going to put this one here, sew down here, and put this one here, sew down here, and then I will press toward the half that has the dark color. All right, once you've got those pieces sewn and pressed, I'm just going to put them together in the middle, stitch them together right down the center seam here. And now once we've got that pressed together, and I did press that seam open just to reduce a little bit of bulk in the center seam. That is done, and this block at this point is 10.5 inches square. So what you're going to do is cut it into 3.5 inch pieces. So you're going to cut here 3.5 inches from the edge, here 3.5 inches from the edge, which will give you 3.5 in the center, and then you're going to carefully rotate yourself, or however you do this, 3.5 inch, 3.5 inches in, and a 3.5. So you'll have 9 3.5 inch squares. So I'm going to go cut that apart, and I'll show you how that looks. Okay, so here's what we have. Our 9 squares are cut apart, and you can see we've got 3 in the top row, 3 in the middle row, and 3 in the bottom row. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this one and spin it around, and take this one and spin it around, and then I'm going to take this and spin it around, this, spin it around, this one. I'm taking all of those and spinning them so the little triangles are now all facing outward, where they were all towards your center. And then these 2 also get spun around, and then you just take this one and give it a 1/4 turn either way. Then you have this. So now what you have to do is sew these together. I'm going to take the first 2 from each row so I don't mess it up. I'm going to sew this seam here, 1/4 inch, this seam here, a 1/4 inch, and this seam here, a 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to add the 3rd square from each row to the opposite side right here. So I'm going to go ahead and make these 3 strips of squares. Okay, now I've got 3 strips all sewn together, and when I press them, I press the 2 end seams away from the center block, and the middle one I pressed towards the center block, so when I sew them together they will all nestle properly. So now I'm just going to sew this piece here and this piece here. And our block is finished. Isn't that a pretty block? So for this particular block, we started out with 5.5-inch squares that we made into the half square triangles, and you end up with a square right now that when it's sewn into something will be a 9-inch square. It's about 9.5 inches right now. And that is another disappearing block for you. Now you know how to make the half square triangle disappearing block. Very pretty, isn't it? This is one of my favorites. We hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. Hit the little bell if you want to be notified. And remember, we put up a new video every Saturday morning, usually around 10 o'clock. And we alternate. We put some of our block videos up. We put some of our pattern instruction videos. Something different every week. So we hope you have a good week. Have some fun sewing all week. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.